Boom.
Boom shakalaka.
There it is right there. Boom shakalaka. Welcome back, folks. How is everyone doing tonight, man? Do we got a good one for you? We have the team from FINU Crypto Project. Founder Ryan Welsh and team lead Bobby with us tonight. Ryan, how you doing, brother?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Doing good.
Yeah, absolutely. Bobby, how about you, brother? You having a good night tonight?
Outstanding, brother. Outstanding. Thanks for having us.
Well, that's great. I tell you, I don't know if it's just me or I don't think my mouth is moving, but I feel like it's moving. Man, oh man.
Still alive out there? Good. This is Max Headroom.
All right, well, there it is. I feel like I want to be off screen, but it is what it is. This is live and coming to you right from Houston, Texas, of course. Ryan, Bobby, where are you guys out of?
I'm out of Salt Lake City, Utah.
Man, all right. Beautiful out there. Bobby, what about you, brother?
I am right outside of little old Providence, Rhode Island.
Man, I tell you, both beautiful places. God bless the USA. I tell you, we got so many good, beautiful states out there. You guys got to check it out if you guys are watching this international. And certainly, we appreciate you all joining us live. Of course, if you're not joining us live, we appreciate you just the same. Just glad you guys are tuning back in. So, I tell you what, though, we want to talk about all the good that is going on in the FINU project, but as usual, we want to start off with the Bitcoin chart. So let me go ahead and pull that up, and hopefully this latency thing just is a thing of past, goes away. Let me know when you guys see this up here. Bear with me for a moment. All right, so how's that look, folks?
We see it.
Coming in good. Well, I'm glad you could see it. I wonder if that latency is going away. What we're looking at here is, well, we're going to switch this up because I want to blow this thing out a bit. We're currently looking at the one day chart on this, and as you can see, we were on that downward wedge, and then eventually this thing did pop off. Now we've had a bit of a retracement, as you guys can see over the past, well, call it 2 weeks or so, and it's been fairly steady. But I think the question, though, is this thing going to go ahead and continue to head back down? Now, I feel like, well, the future is bright in the space. Now, Ryan, I'm curious, though, what are your thoughts on this? Is this thing going sideways, moving forward? Is it going to go ahead and continue down, down, down?
No, I mean I don't know. I think this all centers around the ETF and
Mm,
what's going on there. And so I think we've got a lot of whales and institutions out there um, playing the chart, playing Bitcoin. But I think once that settles down, I think we're just gonna keep on trucking back to all time high. You know what I mean? But the SEC's got to they've just got to give some clarity, and then they have to hook up all their friends at Goldman Sachs and BlackRock, and once
mm.
all the land is divided, I think we start to see a more natural Bitcoin.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of talk about what's going on in the ETF space and whether or not that is going to actually pan out. I feel like there are two ways that this can happen, in my opinion. Of course, anything that we're saying here tonight, folks, is never financial advice. But of course, you have the ETFs as long as our friend Gary at the SEC allows this to go through. I wonder though if he is going to buy his time so that we have more of a digital currency in place before that happens. Bronze, what do you think? ETF, digital currency, which comes first?
Yeah, I mean ETFs. It's where you have all these institutions filing for it. Like we said a couple weeks ago, like with BlackRock, Larry Fink, the CEO of BlackRock, it specifically says that Bitcoin could revolutionize the financial system. I mean, if that's not bullish, I don't know what is. Um, I mean, just like what Ryan says, Gary got to divvy up his friends and all that. And I wouldn't be surprised if Larry is one of them. But all these big institutions are positioning themselves, and it's really writing on the wall. I mean, if you see some massive dips or whatever, it's like that saying is buy the dip. Uh, you know, right now, past couple of weeks, it's been steady at 30K, and honestly, I kind of I like that. Volatility. You know, I need a break from volatility. So as long as it doesn't like go far down, I'm good at 30K. And yeah, we know it's gonna pump. I mean, like I said, the end of 2024 is gonna be rocking. So uh, people just not financial advice, but for me, it's accumulation time, baby.
There it is. To the
To the
moon.
moon. Yeah.
Bobby, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with everybody. Start again too with not financial advice, but I think that all of the outside noise has really done a number on things right now. I think that obviously there's all of that comes into effect between the ETF and awful funny how they didn't like the wording or the description, and they've already refiled, so that's all good news and bullish. I love it. I think we're headed upward and onward soon enough. Just keep accumulating.
Is right. And no one's got a crystal ball. Who the heck knows where we're going to go? But I think we all agree that crypto is here to stay. So, I with everything that's going on, especially as you had said, the volatility. I think I saw something earlier today that we lost somewhere around 136 million due to liquidity, and those are folks that are leveraging. Right, that's a very risky play, but some folks are here for that. They love those insane face melting highs and those very depressing lows. But I don't know, ETFs. Anything, Ryan? What do you think? You feel like we're going to see that ETF this year?
Oh, I don't know. I think so. I mean, it's going to go as fast as Uncle Gary wants to make it happen, right? Like we could be approved next week. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on at that level. I mean, I don't think any of us do, but whatever's happening at the highest echelons of government and financial institutions, I think it's going to be timed. Uh, there's going to be some sort of predetermined timing to these ETFs, the spot, and aren't there two that are being filed? Right?
Yeah,
There's two.
that's right. You have one getting pushed out through Fidelity, and I want to say the other one's BlackRock, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd have to look that up.
Yeah. I
So,
mean,
It's BlackRock.
I don't know what they're going to do to trigger that, but for sure, I mean, it's going to be centered around some sort of event where that can happen, and everyone that can take first mover advantage has that. And I don't know. I mean, I feel like we know how this goes ever since the institutions jumped in a few years ago, right? It's like we've seen this play out over and over.
yeah, for sure. That's it. And it's the same old story, isn't it? I think as long as we are able to kind of hold on tight, get those diamond hands and hodl, we're going to be able to see the next bull run. And it is going to be very much face melting. We've seen it once before, twice before, and we've lived through those winters, and they're painful. But winters, just like anything else, end. So this is something that'll happen, and man, I tell you, it's good to have folks that actually kind of seen and sit through those on with us, because I feel like when you're first coming into this can be almost heartbreaking if you came in even, I don't know, call it a year ago. We've been going down, down, and then we had this kind of upward angle up for a little while, and now it's coming back down. Everyone's saying, "Well, the bull run's here. Winter is over." I mean, maybe they're right. I feel like they are. It certainly warmed up a lot since late November. So we'll have to see how this all plays out. Now, one of the things that just was brought up was looks like, as you had humbly said, Uncle Gary. Let me pull this up here. Uncle Gary seems to be taking aim at a few more exchanges. I'm not surprised. Let's pull this up here. So this is coming from Reuters. This was yesterday. SEC takes aim at crypto platforms as unregistered exchanges. Well, surprise, surprise. Because they seem to be flipping and choosing what are, first off, registered assets and unregistered assets. Now they're going after exchanges altogether. You think we're going to see more of this there, Ryan?
Yeah. Let me touch on a point from just minutes ago is the market coming back and having net inflows, right? Well, the Fortune 500s and any other like major fintech player right now. I mean, for about 2 years, but especially the last year and a half for sure, there's been this massive drive and this massive push by banks and really just any FI or financial institution for onboarding, like on ramping, off ramping. How do we create this seamless experience to get mom uh, to put money into this? And so I know Visa, Plaid, Mastercard. There's probably 4 or 5 more heavy hitters in there building this, and so um, I think once those rails, those financial rails get laid and they're put in place, that once it's easy for mom to get in, then the money comes in. I mean, that's where it's at. So right now in the U.S. we have 55 million wallets, but we know that's probably only like 8 million people at most.
Right.
It's just so when we think about the adoption, right, it could be huge. But then back to what Tex said when I jumped in. What were we talking about? CBDCs? What was it?
Yeah, it was the SEC takes aim at crypto platforms.
Oh,
Exchanges.
you know why? Because at the end of this, when everything washes out, there's probably only 2 to 3 exchanges standing that can operate in the U.S. I would say at most, as far as the ones that exist now. I think you're going to be left with Coinbase, and I think they already know how this is going to work out. I feel like everyone should know, which is Coinbase is already being set up to be king. That's, I mean, they have banter and they're lobbing grenades back and forth, but at the end, I'm willing to bet you see Coinbase on top. You'll start to see their board filled with Goldman and SEC people and presidential cabinet members, and it's sort of the recipe that they have.
Right.
And so, I mean, I hate talking about that, like getting into like it's sub conspiracy, but when you're in crypto long enough, like I've been in since 2011, like you've been along for the ride, like you know what you're staring at. And so I think we end up with Coinbase. I think we're probably left with Kraken and crypto.com.
Right. And crypto.com are they supposedly they're Singapore based, right?
Yeah, but as far as like who can operate here, right?
Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
Because they just throw around so much money. I think by volume, aren't they like number 3?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Right.
Yeah. So they'll find their way in.
Why do you think that? I mean, what is? Are they playing charades, or I mean, with the shenanigans with the SEC suing Coinbase?
I mean,
what do
it's
you
up
think
to
that's
the
about?
SEC as the or the government as the plaintiff, right? It's up to them to decide when they drop charges, what sort of deal they're willing to make or accept.
Okay.
So, in my opinion, and just from my experience and background, and being able to see things like this behind the scenes, I think they already kind of know where this ends.
Right.
The SEC and Coinbase, I think they already know, and I think we're pretty close. And if you notice the timing with Ripple,
Right.
and XRP, um,
Yes.
there's I think there's a lot of these things that sort of come to a head all at the same time. So if you're looking to take advantage of the market moving, I think if you can time ETFs to the XRP thing, to the Coinbase thing, all things resolve really close to each other, and you've already got all the financial institutions that have almost entirely laid the rails for mom to onboard. That to me, just from totally being an outsider, I could see that. I mean, that's something that with the information I have, that's probably what I would try and time, right? Is these big major things all happening at once.
Yeah.
Once they are cleared, you see funds, just racing to get into the market.
That's some melt facing.
Yeah.
But I can see that happening. I can see that playing out with things happening all at once. That's gonna be crazy.
Well,
But
and Bitcoin. I mean, here's the thing: is I think at the end of this, I think the majority of coins are going to get regulated into dust. I think everyone will be left holding nothing, um, except for I think Bitcoin. It's obvious that they're rallying behind that. I think Ethereum is it's close. It's a close second, but I don't think there's the same level of political and institutional support for Ethereum like there is Bitcoin. And again, I mean, Ethereum's just like AOL, right? Like they were first, they were biggest, and then someone else came along and dethroned them. And I think we're going to see the same thing with ETH at some point. Um, but but yeah, I mean, I think Bitcoin ends up just flying because you're going to weed out all these other options to put money into, right?
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think honestly, I feel like, and the latency is still there on my end, so I apologize, folks, but I think that you're onto something, Ryan. And we were actually talking about this, Crypto Broads and myself, the other day. Institutions are going to rally behind Bitcoin. I feel like that's a certainty. Now, that's just a feeling based off of what we're seeing within the market movements. I think the question, though, is if Bitcoin is what they're going to rally behind, do the digital currencies follow next? I feel like the answer is yes. And I apologize that I stepped away if you spoke to that. But I wonder, though, what then, if it's not Ethereum, what will the transaction or what will that ledger be on? And
XRP.
then it would have to be,
No, you know
oh
what? Look,
man.
XRP, XRP's bull crap. However, Ripple is arguably, I mean, I don't know. I feel like they're the hottest in fintech. If you keep up with them, they're just not in the U.S. really much at all. But I was dealing with them last year, and man, I think they're just doing some of the coolest stuff. But holders don't know that, right? They're like XRP price,
Yeah.
but Ripple Labs, man, they're doing
Yeah.
some of the coolest stuff with money movement and cross-border transactions.
Yeah. I don't know about that, Ryan. The XRP army, they're one of the most conspiracy theory people
Sure.
out there. I mean, they connecting all these crazy dots. But yeah, it's yeah, I feel like they do some crazy research. And
Yeah. Well,
but yeah.
my last gig at Mastercard, I was in charge of all the like AI and smart payment technologies globally, and so I was really pushing them hard into crypto and block and all that. And we were working on some really cool things, but our competitor was Ripple,
Mm,
and Plaid and Visa, and so I got a really good perspective because I was dealing with CBDCs and Circle and government, all of that. So I got a really good um, handle. The further in time we go, because I'm not in that job anymore,
Mhm.
the less impactful or relevant that information is. But yeah, CBDCs, I don't think those come into play as quick as we think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Look, I wanted to. Um, I don't want to go too much over because we want to go over your project, but
Yeah.
I wanted to touch on Fed now. The the in 2 weeks things are gonna get a little hectic. There's two bills supposedly that's supposed to be that's due on July 19th, which is the stablecoin bill and the market structure bill.
Mm,
Stablecoin bill is, both parties, the Republican and Democrats, are working a framework, for stable coin regulation, right? So that supposedly voting should happen on the 19th of this month. And then a market structure bill is a complex bill, but it's basically it's trying to push more clarity, right? It's with the SEC jurisdiction. When does that end, and when does the CFTC jurisdiction begin? So that's in progress right now, and supposedly that bill is supposed to be onto a vote on July 19th, and the day
mm,
after is supposedly Fed Now, which is the Fed's payment system.
yeah.
That's going to be in play in the day after. So man, it's July is gonna be hot, like no
Yeah.
pun.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see what happens with all this, but um, yeah, man, it's going to be interesting. But yeah, I mean, I'm
Yeah,
record this. I know we are, but like reference what I'm about to say, which is 99% of tokens or even the concepts, they're going to get regulated into nothing. They will all end
Yeah.
in zero. The
Yep.
only thing that will not end in zero is Bitcoin. I mean, even ETH could end in zero, but you're gonna see it. It's gonna happen. And so if you want to get access to like degen stuff, you're gonna have to VPN out of the country and all that. And so I think all the degens will, but nothing will prevent that from happening. But I think for normies and the retail investor in the U.S., I think you're gonna see where they're like, you can only put money into a couple.
right,
Um, yeah, but then once there's clarity, we're gonna see all these projects pop up because they have a lane, right? They're like, oh,
right,
okay, I can
Yeah.
operate within here, and I can innovate within that
yeah,
sector, right?
in that
And
structure,
so
yeah,
it'll be really good.
yeah,
In
definitely,
I mean, we can't avoid it, right? So let's look on the bright side. It'll be really good to push projects creating value for an investor, which
right,
they don't do right now.
No. Well, I
agreed,
think, well, I honestly, I feel like we've been saying the same thing. The current market is going to shift. We are going to see a large portion of it go away. And I wonder though if it's the overall narrative that and mindset that we're all kind of thinking because we've been here, we've seen the shifts, and we all kind of understand the direction in which we're headed towards, or if there's some validity here versus a narrative. And honestly, I agree with you 100%, Ryan. Here in the States, it has to have clarity. There is no way that the US and other entities, the G6, is going to allow it to remain in its current state. There is not going to be a shift in power. There's not going to be a shift in where all the large money or influx of money is going or who owns it. We are going to see it remain in the same hands that it always has been. And we need to be mindful of that. Get into Bitcoin. I feel like that's where you want to be. That's the safest bet. But you want the quick money? Sure. Go after the little ones. Go after where there's the potential for this to take off still. There's still time. But again, not financial advice, and that's just my 2 cents. So, and there's the latency. Son of a gun. I swear to you, it is not even close to being this bad.
Hey,
But it's clearly on my end because you guys look beautiful.
has anybody ever asked you before the show about latency, or am I the first?
You're the first, buddy.
So of
Son of
course, right?
Well, that's Murphy's law, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, but again,
No.
you guys are you don't look anything like Max Hendrum, but I certainly do. So, well, let's get right into it.
Yeah.
Why don't we get into all the good, all the good that's going on in FINU and the project? Let me go ahead and pull up your website, and if you guys haven't checked these folks out, it's finucrypto.com. We'll pull it up here. Let me go ahead and pull it up on my end. Though I feel like if you wouldn't mind, Bronze, let me get you. Yeah,
I
pull
got
it up because I'm just
you.
concerned
Okay.
there's going to be a bit of a delay on my end, and
All
we don't
right.
want to be slow on the screens.
Will do.
And let me pull Bobby back in. Bobby, welcome back. So now, of course, site looks awesome as usual. This is kind of more of the same that we're seeing. If you open up the side there, Bronze, you'll see. Of course, they talk about they have their menu there. But if you wouldn't mind, go ahead and pull up. Let's just kind of go through this. If you wouldn't mind, we're going to go ahead and start off. Let's go through this. Yes, please. So we have, of course, you guys are currently being traded on Uniswap. I feel like most of the projects we run into, almost all, if they're here on Ethereum, which you guys are, um, Binance. How do you guys feel about Binance? Just curious.
Um, I I don't really have anything to say about him. I mean, I think CZ as far as a person, I think he's stellar at business. He's playing the game and doing a great job. You know, um, at staying alive and fighting, right? Throwing elbows out for his territory, which he should do. But outside of that, I just look, they're what, number one, number two, neck and neck with Coinbase, and they've got the volume. So as a project, uh, I mean, it's a no brainer to go list on Binance, um, you know, if you can. And, but I haven't been on there in years. I haven't been on Binance, and Binance US is like the trailer park version of uh, Binance.
Yeah.
So that's a non-option. But Snoop, what do you think about Binance, man? I think he's
Snoop, you
on.
with us? Maybe he's
Yeah, yeah, no, we had a little bit of buffering. I got cut out a couple of times, guys. I apologize. But yeah, Binance, I would, if they said, "Hey, we see what you're doing over there, brand coin, you know, we want to list you," I would definitely have nothing against it. Um, and I do. I think that CZ is playing the game. He's a heck of a businessman, and we need ambassadors for the space. We need to push forward. We need to show value, and we need to fight, throw the elbows for what we believe in, and actually deliver some utility and value. And I think there are a lot of teams that are starting to really recognize that and push forward and fight for that. So
You know, that's
yeah,
one reason, Tex, why we're not anywhere except Uniswap. Like we get asked this all the time, and the answer is obviously like I don't need to like keep it a secret. What project wouldn't say this? But we're we're planning for onboarding exchanges, central exchanges. We've talked to a few of them. We have things prepped, but we've been in that position for 5 months, 6 months. Um, because I'm actually the one holding it up on the team because we don't know what's going to happen to these exchanges, and so I don't want our tokens just that's just so much chaos, right? I just don't want that.
Yeah.
So I think when the dust settles and we know who can play, which sexes and where, then that's when you see FINU just onboard. We're only going to touch top tens. We won't onboard anything less.
yeah. You know, honestly, it's a smart play. I feel
It's a
like,
play, yeah.
and Bronze and I are very familiar with what's going on in that space because we do have, we've, well, we've had our own project on Hotbits, in fact, and I don't know if you guys know, but Hotbit is now out,
Mm-hmm.
and it hurts. It's like you spend a significant amount of the project's money to get onto the exchange and hope that there are enough eyes on there to keep the project going forward and to the moon, and then an exchange gets blown out. And
Yep.
it's just so you're doing right by your community
Yeah,
by
just keep on
taking it
building
slow.
it.
That's
Mhm.
it.
Just
That's
keep on
right.
building
Yeah,
it.
I mean, on the crypto side, we're forced to take it slow, because I can't force anyone to buy in. But as far as building the project, I mean, we're full speed ahead because we're building a consumer product brand in real life, and so nothing stops us there. Fiat's coming in, and so that little machine has started to kick on, um, and so yeah, I mean, we're being very strategic about how we move forward with exchanges, with partners, really with everything, and we're doing our best. I'm sure we'll make a mistake. I'm sure we already have, but we've got a great team, really smart, and we counsel together on, I think, just about everything. Uh, so we end up, I think, with getting some pretty good decision making skills in the team and outcomes.
No, absolutely. Smart move. Take it slow. You want your moves to be calculated. That's really how the right businesses survive. So let's talk a little bit about tokenomics. You guys, now taking a look at it, looks like you guys have a total supply of 1 billion. Is that right?
Yep, that's it. We got 1 billion. It's going to stay 1 billion. There's no burning, and there's no other gimmicks or shenanigans. It'll be 1 billion forever.
Billion forever. There it is. Well said. Max supply 1 billion. Circulating supply 900 million. Now,
Yep.
taking a look at some of the taxes here, it looks like you got a buy tax of 0%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Going back to the 90% in circulation, the other 10% is being held back for exchanges, which I think we talked about that before we got cut off, right?
Mm-hmm.
Pretty
Right.
sure. Okay. So, yeah, we're at a 0.5 tax. We launched with a 6.9. I'm probably going to revert back to saying, well, as a brand coin, but one of the differences in the mechanics of the taxes is that, again, traditionally, you've got your marketing wallet, you've got your dev wallet, volume comes in, there's taxes on one or both sides. And that money goes into the wallets. Marketing is to market the crypto, um, and grow it, right? But the dev wallet goes to pay the team or sometimes just the founder. And so, you end up in tax farms. That's bottom line. Is the only thing that helps is the dev. With us, we actually, FINU wouldn't work if we did that. Like if we ran taxes the way that traditionally they are run, uh, this whole thing wouldn't work. So our 0.5, and like I said, we start at 6.9 and we ratchet it down. But as that money comes in from the taxes, we use that to, one, market the crypto side of the house, but then two, the dev wallet is actually the development wallet, the business development wallet. So no one gets paid out of that, and it goes to actually build a real life company. And as profits are generated and the company grows, we'll ratchet down the taxes until we get to 0.0, and it'll just stay there. And I think eventually the contract around the same time probably gets renounced, and we're off. Next phase of FINU.
Yeah, for sure. And taking a look at this, if you guys were to go ahead and go on to dextools.io and take a look at the contract, on the left-hand side, you're going to indicate, and it's going to tell you all the good and bad, and kind of in red, it's going to indicate that this is taxable or that the taxes can be adjusted. And I think that is something that you kind of spoke to, right? You kind of want to eventually decrease those taxes, but you know honestly, there's a number of ways that you got to pay attention to the things that is being said here. One, we want to make sure that this is being lowered, is what you were saying, Brian. You want to make sure that we're able to lower the taxes. Understand if the taxes are fixed within the contract, then Ryan can't reduce those taxes to zero typically. Now, you guys are typically topping this out. Is that right? You guys are reducing the amount of taxes that you can increase this to.
Yeah. So when the contract was written, the contract dev is very well known in crypto for a few years now. Been on some really high profile projects that have run into hundreds of millions, and just a great guy. Dude's just solid. But when I decided to launch FINU, it's actually the one thing that I've never done in crypto in 13 years, 13, almost 13, 12 years. I've never run a project. I never wanted to. So when I did this, it's one thing to read a contract, and it's one thing to do all the stuff you do as a holder, as like a sophisticated holder, which you do the same things I've noticed. It is an entirely other thing to be a project dev and founder. And these are the things that you do. You never experience on the investor side, right? So I went to this guy who I knew wrote contracts from tokens I had been in, and I just said, look, this is what I'm doing. I'm launching. I won't pretend to know how to write Solidity or what the contract should be. So I just said, hey, make it like that contract, but I want to make these changes because it's all about the holders and the chart, right? Focus on others. You'll be just fine. So as a team, we said, okay, we're gonna only do things that are good in the long term, and if we can, those that are good in the short term and the long term. But those decisions that are good for them, right? And so that's where taxes come into play. That's where active LP management comes into play. But here, that's where the tax limitations come in that you're talking about, and that is, it's written into the contract that you cannot have taxes higher than 10%.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's smart. And I think that it's important to talk about. It's important for not only the holders, if they haven't done their own research, and shame on them if they haven't, but if the holders, but also any new potential investors getting into it, they're seeing that you have this ability to modify taxes. Now, if they are smart, they are taking a look deep into the contract and being able to recognize that. But unfortunately, it's difficult. It's not always that easy, and it's hard, and it can be sophisticated to try to understand what that looks like. But getting that word out there is crucial because folks are going to see that adjustable tax rate and they're going to say, well, okay, I'm out. It's not worth it. It's a pull.
Yeah, totally.
That's a good point too, because
Go ahead.
I'm sorry to interrupt, Ryan, but
No.
because if you pull up CoinGecko as well, guys, like it has that banner at the top of CoinGecko.
Yeah,
and
CMC,
obviously it's the warning, adjustable taxes. So that's really great that you brought that up, because that's super important. It's hard coded. That cannot be changed. There's certain things that are written in the contract.
Snoop, let's talk about why.
Hell yeah.
And we'll lay the foundation this way of, for a brand coin, you have to have taxes to like be what we're saying as a brand coin, like truly 100%. You need the volume, you need the tax revenue so that you can go and build the project and the real company. But when you look at these things on DEX tools or Token Sniffer or whatever, they definitely are good for like 90% of projects out there, maybe more. But when it comes to ours, it just says, hey, this is adjustable. Well, it's only adjustable up to a max of 10%. And as you said, it's one thing to go in and read a contract, but to like really understand it. I learned a lot. I learned a lot doing this. And our contract dev taught me so much, because we went through, and I on tokenomics, I said, hey, what about that? What about that? What could we do here? And it was all what's best for holders, what's best for the chart. So we did things that were like anti-bot. If you notice, we've never had a single bot buy our chart once.
That's right.
I went through to verify this. Even when we launched, bots weren't buying.
Yeah, bro.
Because the way we
it's
did
amazing.
it. Yeah. So tokenomics are there. There's like a 2-block lag. You could sell, but you got to wait 2 blocks before that wallet can sell again. Right. So we spent a lot of time going through all of the pain points of a holder, because I got rugged. That's why I'm here. I got rugged for like the 5,000th time, and I've had it. I'm just done. So I said, okay, these are all the things that our industry hates. This is what I hate. I'm just going to make the project that I would put my money into and that I'd be a total fanboy of, which I did. I put 100% of my entire crypto portfolio in FINU, and I've never bought anything else. But again, going back to tokenomics is, we are being done a disservice on there. But on the same hand there, when we get a chance to do podcasts like this, or AMAs or VCs or whatever, we get a chance to talk, and it's like, oh, that's why it's adjustable and you can still touch it. Oh, it can't go higher than 10. Okay. Oh, you actively manage the LP. Okay. But right, when you look at it from the front,
that's when you get that little light bulb that goes off in certain people, guys, and they're like, whoa, bullish.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I've been trying to tell you that everything is done because it's you want to succeed. You want to be in your lane, like we were talking about before. You want to be able to drive down the highway, not all of a sudden hit the dirt road and be like, dang, I just busted a tire and an axle. No, we want to just keep pouring gas and drive down the road.
All projects end in zero when they don't generate any revenue. Like outside of taxes, if they're not doing that, they end in zero. I don't care how cool the idea is. There's no value for people.
That's what it is.
That was a big part of, part of all of this. Here, I'm just, dude, where's our roadmap? There it is, our blueprint. We called it the blueprint because it's car related. But where do you want to go next, Tex? What do you want to talk about?
Well, why don't we start there then, brother? I mean, so we got the roadmap up now. Let's see here. Now, actually, hold on. Do I have this up right here?
Dude, this is old too, so I'll probably on the fly make some updates to whatever you bring up.
No, for sure. So this is the roadmap that is currently on the on your document here, and it's going over the points. Now, I don't know if there's anything in particular you want to point out here.
No, I would just say I'll probably hit on 1 or 2 things, but in general, again, we spent about 6 weeks before launching, meeting daily and throughout the day. Me and Night Addict is how anyone would know him on Twitter or Telegram. But we spent a lot of time just talking through what this was going to be. Now, we didn't know Brandcoin till 2 weeks after we launched, and we didn't know that we were just going to be FINU and not Formula INU. So those things changed. But what didn't change is the idea that, okay, we've got to go out and create value, things that people want to give us their money for. So on the roadmap, you're seeing what we thought we were going to do back in early November, the couple weeks prior to launching. And so when we go through this, like if anyone's watching this and you've seen tweets where it's like, they've got 8 revenue streams and they're doing this, it's like, well, we just listed 8 product categories that we felt like we could innovate in and sell things in. But really the name of the game is, let's make innovative products in a massive industry with the goal of truly being $1 billion market cap company that can actually hold its value and its market cap. and let's start buying pieces of race teams of all kinds of racing. Let's be involved in esports. Let's do these things. So as you go through the roadmap, you'll see NFTs. Why NFTs? Well, we've got a Disney artist, he's a DreamWorks guy. He's been at Warner Brothers, all sorts of things for 35 years. Well, he's on the advisory board. We've actually got a stellar advisory board, but he's designing the NFTs, but they got to do something, right? Well, if we're creating these characters, we already made the FINUverse. So behind the scenes, we have a story. It's been written. We have a universe we've created. But I've made mobile games, plush toys. I've done a lot of like that kind of stuff in entertainment. So when I look at that, I go, okay, well, if each character has a compelling story, well, why not do graphic comics? I made a TV show and movies a few years back. And so I got to learn about the entertainment industry. And my movie was in theaters nationwide. We were #1 when we launched. And so I learned a lot. And so I look at this and I'm like, well, Finn, the main character, Finn Speedseeker, you can write all this content. And if you do it right, like it's going to make a ton of money. Okay. So I'm only going to highlight the NFTs unless there's another one you want to go into. But with these NFTs, we're treating them like people. So Finn Speedseeker, the main character out of 16 characters in the FINUverse, and it's all racing, right? Like it's all about racing for good against evil and all that kind of stuff. But
love it.
If you're making content, Finn is no different than Brad Pitt in real life. Right? Like you're going and you're acting. That's what our fake, Finn Speedseeker character is doing. Well, Brad Pitt has a manager and he has an agency. The manager and the agency both get paid when he goes and does a movie. Okay. Holders are no different than the manager and the agency, right? So I just thought, why don't we do NFTs with the universe? It'll be around racing. It'll be in alignment with what we're doing as a brand. But if you own an NFT, like a Finn NFT, say 1 of 100 or 1 of 1,000. Well, if Finn is in an animated series on Netflix, which is the plan for part of the FINUverse is to end up there, then let's say he gets paid $1 million and there's 1,000 holders. Well, if a percent of that money is going back to the NFT holder, right? And it's perpetual because it's just content, right? It lives forever. Then you've really got, like I said, you got to create value. If people are if it's so good, people are willing to pay for comics and toys or whatever. Or the mobile game, which is not Web3. The mobile game is going to be in the Apple Store, Android Store, and people are going to pay real money for it, right?
Well,
but then that money goes back to holders, and so,
anyway,
that's one of the things in there.
To be fair, listen, anything that you see or touts Web3 these days, it's not there. Anything that I've seen from any developer, legit developer that is touting Web3, it's sticks and stones, folks. We are not even close to Web3. Let's call it Web 2.5 if we want to call it something. We're almost to that breaking point. There's a lot of creativity in the space and it's heading us in the right direction. What we want is, and you spoke to this earlier, you want the moms, you want the pops getting involved. First things first, let's focus in on, it's great we're focusing in on the 5-10% that's into crypto. Let's focus in on the 90%. And what FINU is doing is focusing on the 90%. Let's get the folks in App Store. Man, I tell you, you get that out there, that is one way you're going to go ahead and just break on through the stratosphere.
Well, there's no money in Web3. That's the thing, right?
Mm-hmm. Sure. I agree. There isn't. Not yet.
Not
It's
yet.
not where it
Yeah.
needs to be.
No, yeah, we'd be ready for it. We'll be
Oh, we're
ready
ready.
for
Oh,
it. You know,
shoot.
that's
Yeah.
we're ready.
Um,
We're already dialing in those ideas too. Like, the building racetracks in different metaverses
yeah,
where,
we started that already.
you can tour and we'll have, the Moon Tropica 500. One of our partners is developing a metaverse, a PvP, pretty cool Zelda game. Almost looks like, nostalgic. I really like what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
But again, to be ready for it, yes, we have our sights set on doing these races like a season, like a real season,
Yeah, in Web3, like
only in the
a
metaverse.
FINU League, Metaverse Racing League, where in 10 different metaverses, we'll have 10 different tracks, branded out FINU. We'll partner, we'll hold a league, an annual racing season in the league. But we've also got an iRacing event coming up in about 6 weeks. We'll be hosting a FINU race. Oh, I hope this didn't just rug.
No. That's me.
Um,
I'm just getting off video because it's just
Yeah.
nonsense.
Yeah. But iRacing has 6.9 million users. And
Mhm.
so we just thought, well, you could advertise and go through the front door and pay through the nose. Or for $10, you could just start your own racing league and have cash prizes. And you're going to spend way less and you're going to get way more eyeballs. So
Yeah.
we're going
after the 90%,
That's it.
right, exactly. And again, that's why it's like
or 10, 12%, whatever it is,
sure,
15% there.
yeah.
Keep
But
chipping
really,
away, take bites.
yeah, but really, it comes back to this: like, regardless of what's on the roadmap, fundamentally, it just goes back to, as a brand coin, we started as a crypto, we launched a real life company. Now we're making products in real life and in Web3 or whatever, just physical and digital products. Okay, regardless of where they live. And so with that, that's always where our mind is what we're doing good for holders. Is this going to increase value? It's really the same as any company. Is there a return on investment that's going to be it's going to be profitable or strategic to achieve our goals as a company? And that's where I said from the beginning, some of this roadmap might disappear. For all I know, we might never do NFTs, games, or animated, whatever. Maybe we don't ever, do something because it just, when you get there, sort of like the business battlefield has changed, right? And so
No.
you just gotta change your direction, pivot, right?
Yeah. You have to
So
keep it liquid. You have to keep it
yeah,
liquid, and you have to pivot to where the market is moving. The
right.
market is moving so quickly in this space, whether it's AI or NFT
Yeah.
or, if it's tokenomic, rather DeFi, etc.
Yeah.
You just need to go where the market is moving in order
And
to.
you know what? Let me, I always forget to touch on the basics, and I should have done this in the beginning, but I'm working on that. I always get into like this stuff, like tokenomics and business stuff. But I think it's good for people to know that if we got rid of the crypto side of the house, right? We just said, okay, what does your company do? Well, we make products for the auto industry, motorsports, esports. And we're just, at every turn, we're connecting to anything with an engine or a GPU or a motor where two or more people are racing. And so if you go to FINUGlobal.com, you'll be able to see the consumer brand, and you can buy products today. We already launched we have 1 patent on it, 2 patent pending. We have a ton of intellectual property. It's the world's first modular cargo net system for passenger vehicles, trailers. But here's the thing: why is an auto company that's like connecting to racing, which is super cool, and crypto, and we came out of the gate saying we're going to do animated series, we're going to do products, all this stuff. Why did we pick a boring net? Well, because we did research, and it turns out the cargo net market in the U.S. alone is approaching $1 billion, and its year-over-year growth rate is about 7%. It's compounding growth annually. It's crazy. And so now go look at the cargo nets on the market. And what you'll find is they really haven't changed too much in decades. And there's a lot of pain points to them. And so that to me is opportunity. There's no true brands, cargo net brands in the truest sense of, technically what a brand is. There's one who's like sub brand, and all the rest are Chinese imports or from some other country. And so as FINU, we said, oh, okay, well, this will be our first product because it's innovative. We're innovating in a dusty, old, boring industry. And it's part of the auto industry, right? So the site has a long way to go. We just launched it. If you're familiar with e-commerce, is kind of just how it goes. But this thing will start looking pretty sexy as the next 2 to 3 months roll by. We've got about between accessories and main products, we've got about 15 that'll be coming out before the end of the year. UI UX will improve. We'll start building out all the real estate on the site. But again, for people who aren't familiar with us, that's really what we're doing. We've got the crypto side, which we manage, but then totally like separately, we're going out and the same team is having to build a crypto brand and a consumer product brand.
Love it. I think it's, and you guys are all, you have to be in multiple different areas, right? It's just like anything else. Call it Coca-Cola, call it Pepsi. You can't just focus on one thing. It has to have variety. Now, you guys are expanding into the, call it, physical space outside of the crypto space, but that absolutely makes sense because the two are supposed to be together, folks.
Yes,
You
that's
have
exactly
to have one. You cannot have you cannot be isolated here. And if you understand that, then you get it. If you don't, look into it further.
Well, that's a big part, Tex, is we haven't done it yet publicly, but behind the scenes, before we even launched, what we said was, this is not crypto over here and a company over there, like a consumer brand selling real things for fiat. They're not separate the way that we view them on the team. I don't view them as separate where everyone else would, where it's like, oh, you have XRP and then you have Ripple. They're totally separate. That's how every single crypto is. Well, with this, it's seamless. And when the internet started, people used to discuss, like, they would talk about the website and they would say, oh, are you talking about Coke and their website, or are you talking about Coke? And if you're old enough, you'll remember that, like, it wasn't integral as part of our sort of DNA in life. The internet wasn't. Now you say Coke, and what else do you think other than Coke.com or Nike.com, right? That they just live digitally like that. Well, we're saying the same thing. It's kind of the internet, the way that was, where right now everyone's talking about, oh, it's Web3 over here, but it's traditional real life or fiat over here. We're just saying, no, this all works together in a seamless way. And so I don't like talking about, oh, the token over here and the consumer brand. We do it publicly because it's easier to just have that conversation or have conversations with people. But really, that token, when you implement the token into the most integral and deep aspects of a company, there are things that have never been done before that are about to happen this month or next that you just couldn't do because tokens didn't exist, blockchain didn't exist. So you couldn't do the things that FINU is about to do, here coming up in the next week or months. We'll be the first one in history to do it. But I want people to, as the years go by, this is just what business is. It just is, right? It's just one seamless thing.
That's right. It is the next evolution of it all. You guys are starting it here. You guys are watching this. When you're watching this, if you're watching this live, this is truly the basement for this company and the future of it all. So, Ryan, thank you for joining us. Bobby, thank you for joining us. Now we got Appealing Protocol. Appealing, you with us there, sir, ma'am?
Jake?
Oh, Jake?
Yeah, Jake's here.
Jake,
I
is
don't know
there
if he's
anything you
able
joined
to
us live? Is
jump
there
on.
anything you want to say to these fine folks? Any questions? Anything you want to bring up?
There he is.
Hey, everybody. Hey, Tex. Great to be on here.
Absolutely. Happy to have you, sir.
We are a very, very proud partner. We are the official charity arm of FINU. So they were actually our first donation. We take donations through us, and then we really market it, raising more awareness for the charity rather than just, individuals donating straight to their website. So we try to empower it even more, so then the major thing is the eyes get the awareness. And they were the first to do it through us. They support us, and we believe in them. They believe in us, very mutually. We bounce off each other incredibly. Ryan, I feel like he's just a big brother to me. We connect on so many levels, and I launched Appealing Protocol for the same reasons. I got so tired of getting rugged. I worked, really hard for my investments, and I try to go above and beyond, and I'm usually on the team, and so it's pretty hard to see not only financially get wrecked, but your time, that's what really stings. So
yeah, and let me point out, Jake, I'll sell you to other projects, but why we partnered is Bobby, or others know him as Snoop on in crypto Twitter, but Bobby would not shut up about Jake and Peel. He just wouldn't stop. And finally I got annoyed, and I'm like, all right, I got to go learn about this after like a month of him just going on and on. And then I looked into it, and I'm like, and no, actually I wasn't that negative. I was like, well, if it matters to Bobby, then let me go check it out. But when I looked at it, I thought, oh, okay, this is actually really cool. And we're really picky and selective about projects that we partner with. But just like in real life, you should be picky. But why we partnered with Peel is because they take the giving, like all the work that is required to give. When you're just a person donating to charity, you just write a check and you're done, right? But as a business, it's not like that. Like, you could do that, but you have a responsibility to grow the company. And so it's a marketing opportunity. Well, that is so much work to extract the value out of that. And so that's where Jake comes in, where it's like, okay, we'll send you the money for the donation. We'll tell you the charity we want it to go to, but you're going to facilitate everything so that we don't have to lift a finger and spend any of our time doing it. But you're going to go to work for getting us eyeballs and marketing this thing. And I think Jake's ahead of the curve when it comes to the future of giving. There's other projects that look sexier, but I've looked at them. They might look good, right, from the outside, but they're poison on the inside, or they're destined for zero. Whereas this isn't. But I think that highlights our philosophy and where our mindset is as a project in FINU. is that we partner with like-minded ones who are doing something valuable, not just a gimmick in crypto like so many.
Yeah, and there it is. There it is. Now we got Appealing Protocol up on the screen here. That's now this is their Twitter. Of course, it's at the Appealing One, and that's one as in ONE. If you haven't checked it out, we're going to make sure that we have all the links down in the links below in YouTube as we move forward. We got to make sure we check this out. There's a huge shout out to Jake and team with them, and of course Ryan, Bobby. Anything else you guys want to say tonight to these fine folks?
Bobby, you want to go first, and then I'll go after you.
I'd love to. Thank you. Yes, I'd like to say for everybody to really give things a thought, to get involved into the space, give some thought, do your research, and understand that there are more projects in the space that are developing and growing to do good and to thrust the whole space into unification and adaptation into the world. And FINU has really taken a really big part of my heart, because I know the vision and I know the ethic behind it, that it's an honor to be a part of the team here. It's an honor to be able to speak to everybody today, and it's really good to have Jake on with us too. Appealing Protocol, ticker Appeal, just amazing people that just work hard. It's great to be with such a wonderful group of people. So thank you everybody for your time is what I want to end with. I got another thing
and there it is,
but
we can't say that here.
I can't say it here, so I'm gonna just say thank you again.
What are you gonna swing? You gonna sing something for us, or no?
No, we always, the reason he's going first, he usually goes second and takes us out of spaces or VC, because what we end on is let's effing race, or we're here to F crap up. So if he can't,
I love it. Now here's the thing. We so those of you that are maybe watching this recorded, we had a little bit of technical difficulty. So I think what we can do is, since we need to do a little bit of slicing, maybe we do a little bit of bleeping as well.
Okay.
So
well, let's.
I think maybe maybe we could have Ryan go, and then Bobby, you do your thing, and we're just going to do a little bit of modification.
Nice.
So that we can still remain on YouTube and keep our ratings clean.
Yep. Well, as long as my daughter can see it, and I don't get in trouble for a bad word, then I'm good with that.
There it is.
That's kind of my rule is PG-13. That's the limit. Well, let me just say thanks for having us on. I actually mean that. It's not, I'm not just blowing a hot air. We have been fighting for 7 months in the space, and we have the most success on AMAs, spaces, just anywhere that we can be seen and heard. We really need that to be successful, and so I'm incredibly grateful that Bobby was able to swindle you into this. He did a great job. And
oh, come on now. Listen, we are more than thankful to have you guys on with us tonight. And this project is near and dear to my heart for several different reasons. And I don't know if anyone knows this, but made by veterans. What does that mean?
To me? Are you asking me?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I spent,
tell the folks a little bit more.
Yeah, I spent about 10 years on active duty military in the Army. And I started as a special operations aviator. And then I did that for about 6 years. And then I did about 4 years as an engineer officer with a specialty in demolitions. And so if anyone's familiar with that, I was a officer over a sapper unit. And we just cruised around with special operations again, and we were their demo assets for a long time. So I did that. I was enlisted, and I was also an officer. And yeah, that's it. I think we're one of the
it right there, folks.
few.
And you really are. You're one of the few that's, and honestly, Ryan, thank you. Thank you for your service. Thank you for all you do for us and our country. It means a lot to myself. It means to a lot to I know that are watching. So,
Thanks.
folks, you got to check this out. Now, Bobby, I'm going to go ahead and turn this over to you, brother. You want to send us off into the sunset?
All right, guys, you got a copy on this? This is FINU Crypto, the first brand coin, the only brand coin in the space. Let's fucking race, baby. We are here to up. Let's go.
Boom. And there
Yes.
it is.
Yes.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Well, you heard it here, folks. Go ahead and check these guys out. All of our links will be down below. YouTube. Guys, thank you for joining us. We want you guys back. We'd love to have you back next month, next week. You tell us. You just tell us when you want to come back on, but we really appreciate all you guys do. Keep it up. Keep the space moving forward. Ryan, Jake, Bobby, thank you.
Thanks. Thank you.
Have a good night, guys.